a lot of interviews with you.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few. So is there a reason that you...
No, but well, I think I do them, but
Yeah.
also sometimes it's like I'm not really like such a very media person, and I
Yeah.
prefer people to just come and have their own experiences
Yeah,
without
yeah.
like. But I did some. I did some mostly like reading, and really less that are more visual like videos.
Okay, so it's more like articles
Yes.
and everything.
Yeah.
And speaking of article, how do you feel like hitting Vogue?
Wonderful. I think it's great. It's a milestone, but I also really cherish like not only Vogue, but everyone else in the media, from the local media,
Yeah.
the regional and the international. And so I
Yeah.
think Vogue was really the one to hit like internationally, and I think of course it's a must, like kind of desire for every designer or everyone in the creative industry. So felt really great.
Yeah.
It was a great experience.
Oh, I mean, we were very proud. I know my mom was very proud when she saw you on Vogue.
All right.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Okay, so I have a few questions. Since not everybody out there has, had an experience of motion, I would love for you to just tell me a few words about what is motion, if you had to describe it with your own words.
Well, very interesting. So Moshions is a fashion brand, which means definitely Moses Fashions. So it's a brand soon after my name and all my ambitions. So our aim is really to bring to life what is a fusion of like a modern look would look like, without thinking of the box and genders, and then constructing entirely from like artistic silhouettes that we find in our culture, and that's fusion with like Italian and Western muscle-torture. So the construction and the silhouettes are always obtained from that inspirations, and a lot of craft behind, and the whole luxury kind of artistic aesthetics from the cultural inspirations, where you have patterns and different manipulations.
Yeah, I can tell.
Find from the culture, but interpreted in really in a different way to match what looks to have fashion today.
So where do you get this inspiration? You say that it's very like it's a culmination of both worlds, Italian and how they, the materials and the culture, and then you put it like, where do you seek inspiration?
My inspirations are not always at one. So I say that my inspirations are always in my environment. So the most inspirations are from the Rwandan environment, from the Rwandan heritage, the culture, the patterns, the colors. And so that's where I source the most of the inspiration from when I start a collection. But also each collection from my line has its own inspiration, though we deep into like a deep research, but it's always around the culture and the development, also the interpretation of me as a person, as a designer, what I desire, what I envision to have as the creations. But all inspiration through manipulation and the aesthetics from like the art, the visual, are really from the Rwandan scene, the Rwandan culture. Now we tapped into also the East African like drapes and something that are really
I could tell by your latest collection. There is a lot of draping, a lot of lines, straight lines, and everything. So is that something that you feel like has been taken well by the clients and the audience of who are looking to wear the next line collection of motion?
Yeah, I think the reception has been well. It has been very positive, but also it's really like an expansion from just what is used to be seen as design, the interior design, because mostly we're like, okay, the patterns, the beadwork, the embroideries. So now we dig deep into like research on the construction of the silhouette. We have a lot of drapery with the, of course, still tailored collar cuffs and all. And then also fusing into like a gender fluidity and different colors and the patterns, the fibers and the natural colors and dyes. I think it's really like a very huge, it's a big challenge for like also another kind of approach to different clientele, which are not only like from Rwanda, and where we started like the campaign of Motions to the world, to share our whole inspiration coming or ranging from the culture, but also something not staying only around in the country, really crossing borders. So it can be a really tangible signature from a creator that can be shared with also entire world, but also the back home. I think that our usual clients has a positive, reception on that. We've been having a lot of great feedbacks.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I know that the feedback has been amazing because also like I just saw you guys got into Victoria and Alfred's museum.
Yes.
How was that?
It's really great. I think at the first one they approached us to have our exhibition. I mean, me as a designer, is that one of the museum I've been always looking up to, and of course never thought I'd probably have my own creations exhibited there.
Yeah.
So that was like a dream come true, but also really a great example on showcasing something made from this other part of the world to be seen on the entire world, and it taps again in the mission of like going beyond borders and sharing what we are doing, our practices, our unique kind of designs with the rest of the world. So that was one of the channeling, really easy. Opening different doors also to the international scene or to the international views of what we are doing.
I think it was great. I think it was really great, and I can't wait to see it. So my next question was actually, what's the motion man and the woman? Because you just talked about the gender fluidity, but if you had to describe, like, can she be spotted? Can he be spotted? Can they be spotted if they're wearing, or is there a certain vibe around the motion woman or man or they?
Absolutely, I think there is. So it's a great example that because we used to have like the motions kings and the motions queens, and that's really going to like more femininity and then more masculine, what we can call like the classic wear, which really kind of gender through the shop, even the browsing, but there is always the aesthetics and the craft that can be recognizable to not mistake a woman from motions, the motions queen and the motions king. So there's always a touch, and the touch is, as I said, from the traditional inspiration, the craft, the embroideries. It's either going to be a hand embroidery. Our all creations have like a handwork on it, so it's either hand embroidery, bead embroidery, or the yarn embroidery, or now we invest into the yarn and fabric research into like natural dyes. So it's either dipped in the dye like with indigo or cochineal, different manipulations, and then the classic looks have always a touch on like geometric cuts, and then from the collar now we have new silhouettes of the collar that has a geometric triangle from the collar. So there is always something significant that you cannot mistake from emotions man and
so
emotions
they will stand out
from something. Definitely
and the silhouettes are very clear, and I mean I can tell from what you're saying is that it's very rooted, it's very organic, and also like more modern at the same time. Like you take it from the ground and you build it up and you clash it with the modern.
Absolutely. Something that is not also suffocating to probably feel like, oh, it's African, but it's really something really tangible, like from the inspiration of the source, because it's not only, it used to be like when you think of African fashion, just the prints or something extravagant, but I think there is more to that. When you're going too deep into silhouette construction and different manipulations, that can still speak also of a creator. So for me, it's not about the umbrella of African, it's the more into deep from my emotions, what I express through what I've seen or my own interpretation, and it doesn't really label me as an African or Rwandan designer, just as a designer who's really expressing himself through different ideas and different tangible practices to bringing something new. So it's something you wear, either you're in Rwanda, you're in any country, you feel like, the proudness from the creator, and especially when you know the story, when you know how it's conceived, and the whole aesthetic coming with the creations, and make you stand out.
So it's like, actually, your name has a double meaning. It's Moses fashion, but it also like you get your emotions, motioning in motions.
In motions. It's also the whole other vibe, but it's motion, but add E, then it's in motion, because it's really sewn from my kind of emotions and what I want to communicate to the world through men and women. Everyone, speaking themselves, expressing themselves different ways without having a barrier of like who they are. And if you want to you feel feminine, you express yourself feminine, you feel masculine, you feel like any kind of type of way, emotions that really represent you and make you stand out there. That's my whole emotion, to just make people regret in their own personalities.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I am very impressed. So, and that's why my next question would be like, was it hard? Because I remember I do a little YouTube channel, and I was trying to modernize Inishanana, and I got a lot of backlash because that's something very, very traditional, and you don't want to change that. So how do you feel when you try to, modernize the traditional wear? And do you feel like there are certain barriers you can't, because now we're talking about expressing yourself, do you feel like there are certain barriers you can't?
Yeah, that's a great question, but I think also there is no barriers for me, and especially also for me, but also anyone who really want to dress up how they want. And I feel like, as I always say to the people, it's like we know the culture, but also we are the culture now, and then the culture has to evolve.
Exactly.
And then if we really, emotion is about building a future heritage. It's something that the next generation in 20-30 years are going to refer from what we are creating today. So if we are not able to express ourselves fully, how we can live and dress, they're not going to always refer to the 50s, because that will be gone. So the culture, what we're living today, is going to be also the culture for the next. But it's good we pick inspiration and make it our own. So making it our own cannot be exactly copying what was worn in the 50s, because if there was a mushanana, I want to wear my own mushanana, no matter how I twist it and how I interpret it, because now I probably want to wear something similar to work or to the function, to something. So we have to adapt it to today's kind of living, without forgetting that people now are very diverse. People have traveled, have seen a lot. There's a lot of also researchers coming from the intelligence and the knowledge that we have, that cannot allow us to just be stuck in the past box, but really do something for today's and for the future. So for me, that's where I want us to really go against the barriers and anything. It's like, yes, I know the culture, I have my the deep research on it, and I know why I'm doing this, because I want to fit in, because I want to express myself in this day. I mean, 2023. Why would I stick to the same
conservative
and conservative of 20, 50 years ago, and then I want to live today? So it doesn't make sense as a creative, but also for everyone really wanting to express themselves, is that deconstructing and really going against the barrier of what should be seen to have the culture, because the culture is what we make it today.
And how does it feel to be the one? I feel like you're the one who paved the way for all the up and coming young people in fashion history. How does it? Is it a lot of pressure?
It's a lot of pressure, as you say. I think it comes with pressure, it comes with devotion, but it's always not, as I say, positive. There are also maybe our elders will be like, oh, what are you doing? You're playing, so then it brings a lot, like curiosity, but it brings a lot of questions, it brings a lot of pressure, it brings a lot of, it's too much. I think it's too much also when you trying to champion, of course, something that hasn't been there, or trying to touch something that's seen untouchable. So it comes with pressure, but also I always say, as a creative, you really go beyond the pressure and the backlash. You'll be like, I'm really devoted to do this. If I don't do this, but also brings more inspiration from some people who are like, oh, this is something now we see, like we can associate, we can resonate with it today. And then the pressure gets suppressed by the positive feedbacks as well. Then you will like, I'm on the mission of you sharing something new, and nothing is gonna stop me. So then you take all in and you move forward.
It must be like, rewarding seeing, important people such as the president or famous, famous people here in Rwanda, and even outside of Rwanda, you know, wearing your garments, that's the positive feedback
It
you
is,
get.
yes,
You know?
it is positive because you'll be like, yeah, no matter what, probably the backlash, but I'm like, you know, we get some people also really supporting the initiatives and understanding or willing to understand what we are doing. So that is a very positive feedback when, especially and always when you see that something you've created is worn or embraced by someone of a personality or like high profiles either in the country or outside the country. It's a big encouragement. Then you feel like, yeah, I owe it to the people, to some people who really are willing to understand and to go even beyond the understanding and embracing these creations.
So what would you tell your peers who are looking to seek the path that you are in, you know, who are up and coming designers? What would your best idea or advice, what would you tell them?
I'll tell them to follow their instinct. I think fashion design has to be taken seriously as an artful way of expression, because really you give what you have. So something they really feel like they want to express from within, they should find any kind of way, possible way to express it. Like there is nothing now as the barrier or something that will stop a designer from expressing their ideas. So they really need to be more confident on what you want to express, on what you want to communicate with your creations, because it's beyond the colors, it's beyond the shapes, it's beyond the silhouette. It has to go beyond and go into the artful way inside of an artist, of a person as a designer. Then it's gonna speak to some audience who definitely will resonate with their creations, then gain more audience to change the world or to change their environment, because I think every designer wants to design something because there's a cause. So that cause should be the one pushing them to express more and then have it worn and shared with their environment.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you so much. I have one last thing. If you could say one thing you knew about life and about creating, what would you say? One thing.
One thing about life and creating.
Yeah.
I think it will be like the joy and pain through the creations.
The joy and pain.
Yes.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was it, and I thank you so much. Thank you so much for actually having time for me, and it just shows that you really take your clients seriously, and you really are humble enough to, you know, let us into your emotions and let us into your world of creation. Yeah. So thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure, and thank you too for considering us, and
always.
Hope you enjoyed and enjoy everything we create.
Definitely. We're going here with at least something. So to support.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Yeah.